I mean, first off, it's a relatively new vaccine. It's only been out for approximately 8 years. And so therefore, you know, we don't really fully know all the kind of contraindications. We don't know all the side effects.
But it's been tested.
It's been tested.
All vaccines had to start at some point.
Yes, it has been tested. But when I had an uneasy feeling because I thought this is a brand new vaccine. I really don't know anything about it. I'm going to inject my daughter with something, a drug. I do at least need to know what I'm injecting her with, what the potential side effects might be, if this is right for her. So I did a little bit of research, and the little bit of research that I did do caused some alarm bells to ring.
And what were the alarm bells? So what were the things specifically that you found out? And it was to do with these side effects, which we should stress they're not common. They're not things that don't necessarily haven't been also pinpointed down to this vaccination solely. Yeah. But what were the things that rang alarm bells for you?
So the things that rang alarm bells for me were the number of cases where girls had been reported that they had serious side effects. So they were going through autoimmune diseases, they were having premature menopause, they were having ovarian failure. Now, obviously, this has not been, you know, scientifically linked to this vaccine, but all the families will say the same things, that their girls were healthy, fit, healthy, active 12-year-old girls. Post this vaccine, they then go on to have all of these serious illnesses. And, I mean, the stories are really quite devastating, and their lives have been dramatically affected enough that made me stop and go, actually, we should probably look at this and see what is going on, what's happening.
Has your daughter had the MMR?
She did have the MMR. Sort of accusations that get thrown at these parents are, oh, you're the anti-vax brigade. Well, they're not, because, as they rightly say, if they were, they wouldn't be in this situation. They've had the vaccine, so they weren't anti-vax. And really sadly, I know in the UK there's the UK Association for Vaccine-Injured Daughters, and that was set up last year to try and cope with these families'
What
needs.
you're saying is that if you were to find out more information, if there was some information available to you that would convince you that this was good for your daughter, that you would take her straight to the doctors tomorrow and go and get it back.
I'm not against it. I just think we need more time. We need to listen to these girls. We need to find out what's going on. There are 300 cases in the UK where girls have been saying that they've had these. I mean, I just had email after email, letter after letter, and you just can't ignore.
Okay, so there is concern, and there is confusion. The Public Health England, PHE. Now, I think actually, I think they were quite unhappy we were going to do this today. Yeah. But the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency is clear that the evidence does not support a link between HPV vaccination and any of the chronic illnesses it's being linked to. We would strongly urge any eligible teenagers aged 12 to 13 not to be deterred from getting vaccinated at the right time because of any misleading information. Delaying the vaccination reduces the protection given by this vaccine. This very effective vaccine could save their lives. Both of my daughters have had it. Yeah. So obviously there are concerned and confused parents. There's some of the reports coming from America. Yeah. Put our minds at rest.
Yeah, well, I think we have to just make sense of it all and look at all of the evidence that we have out there. Over 200 million doses of this vaccine have been given, and there's been no proven evidence that any of these chronic illnesses have been linked to the vaccine. Now, I can completely understand that as a parent, if your child becomes unwell with a chronic disease in the months or years after receiving a vaccine, as a parent, you may want to try and find a reason for that. But if you're vaccinating a whole generation of 13-year-olds, 200 or so of those children, unfortunately, are going to get unwell in the year after that anyway. That's not because they've had the vaccine. They were always going to get that illness, but I can understand as a parent why you might make that link.
Together, yeah.
Yeah, and Public Health England were very concerned about us putting this story on air today, because their concern is that we mustn't recreate what happened with the MMR vaccine when the MMR vaccine was very incorrectly linked to autism. Parents were afraid to give the vaccine and children died. So we mustn't allow that to happen. What we know is that this vaccine does protect against cervical cancer, and actually the risk of getting cervical cancer is much higher than the risk of getting any of these chronic illnesses from the vaccine.
I went through this with the German measles scare years ago, and then the MMR. Yeah. All the mums coming to me about MMR, and I had to try and persuade them. And what upsets me, Melinda, is the fact that you've actually come out into the public domain and said this. I mean, it could have just just done this privately, because you're going to affect a lot of parents.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not just the only one either. There are many, many parents that are concerned because it's relatively new. I mean, in the vaccine company's own insert, so this is the manufacturers, they produce this vaccine. This insert is 28 pages long. Parents don't get to see this, but in here it details that the following adverse events have been spontaneously reported during post-approval use of Gardasil, and then they list here. I mean, I'm just going to read out the ones I can pronounce because, believe me, there are many I can't.
Just do a couple,
autoimmune disease, respiratory disorders, gastrointestinal disorders, autoimmune system disorders, death. Muscular system disorder.
Let's wait there. The death is as serious as you can go.
The language that's used is really important. So these are reported.
Language.
So the manufacturer is saying that people have reported side effects, but there have been none that have been proven. And all of the government bodies...
But that is a difference.
Not just in this country, across the world, in all of the countries where they give this, the government bodies, the NHS, scientists, millions of pounds have been spent on researching this, and it is one of the safest vaccines we've ever had. So although things have been reported, that means a child has had a side effect or had a symptom.
Just very finally, as advice from anybody, from all the information, and I'm coming to you because you are doctors and this is your field of expertise entirely, would you advise people to take it?
Absolutely.
Would you advise people to take
it? Absolutely.
Okay.
I think people should do more research.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click here for more This Morning videos.